Hey everyone, this is Yonit. I'm a bass teacher at Lessonface, and today I am not coming to you from the Lessonface headquarters because there is a pandemic going on outside. But I'm here in my little studio at Brooklyn, New York, where I'm still teaching. And I'm about to show you the best way to practice social distance, which is to practice your bass, right? So I'm going to give you 4 tips. I'm going to give you 4 hacks, actually, for how to play faster on the bass. So we can all use that time inside to practice as much as possible so we can get out and gig as much as we want. Tip number 1. When you're playing the bass, what you want to do is, well, first of all, every place that we play with our right hand really changes the tone of our bass, right? So if I'll play closer up here, it will be a little bit warmer. If I'll go to the middle, which is usually where I am, it's kind of like the middle ground between not too warm and not too metally. But if you're having trouble to keep a groove really tight, one thing that I recommend doing is actually something that people consider Jaco to be the first one to invent this kind of playing, is instead of playing in the middle, instead of playing right above this pickup, what you can do is go a little bit lower towards the bridge for the back pickup over here, where what happens when you play a little closer to the back is that there's less movement, there's less motion of the actual string, which makes it easier to do this repetitive movement again, right? Now, what happens when we do that is we may be sacrificing a little bit of the sound because it's going to be a little bit less warm and a little bit more metally, but you'll see the difference, especially when you need to hold like a lot of bars with 8th notes or 16 notes, that it gets a little easier once you take it to the back. So I'm going to be demonstrating all these hacks with this little track that I made over here. You are more than welcome to practice this with the track by clicking on this link right underneath me where you have the info of the video. So let me show you how I put this first hack to work. Okay, hack number 2, and this is very important. It's one of the things I like best when playing bass. This is something that I've noticed that I'm doing after I was playing a lot of Motown and a lot of James Jamerson parts, which is really the biggest influence, I think, on my bass playing. And so what I discovered is mostly what I was playing is just like the root note, the octave, and the 5, right? This is a very Motown feel. So while I was playing it, obviously Motown songs sometimes tend to be very, very fast because they're like this dancey, cool beats. So what I realized that I was doing is while I was playing the 1-5-1 or the 1-5-8, this kind of shape that we're used to playing, the root note, the 5, which comes 2 frets underneath in the next string, and then the octave, which is the same place but the next string after that. So what I realized that I was doing is I was actually barring the 5 and the octave a lot of times, and sometimes even when I'm using the 4, I do this as well. Okay, so if you look at my left hand, I use my first finger to go between the 1 and the 4. I don't use 2 fingers, but I kind of take my weight and place it on one string and then on the other without moving my finger, but with moving the center of weight. Right, so I'll do it with my first finger, my index finger, and then when I'm doing it with the octave and the 5, I'll do it with my pinky. Sometimes with a little bit of help of the 3rd finger. So it may not be something that could be very useful if you need to play like long licks that are modal or like even just kind of scale going up and down. But if you're really focusing on like that bass groove of the 1-5-1, this is something that's going to help you a lot. So let me show you how I play using this. Okay, and that brings us to tip number 3, to hack number 3, how to play faster on the bass. So we've already had playing a little closer to bridge. We already had using our kind of bar, first finger, fourth finger style. And now the third one is something I also use a lot, which is hammer-ons. Okay? It really depends on the situation. Sometimes you really want to be able to, you know, kind of like play every single note separately, because it has just a different vibe to it. It's way more choppy. But a lot of times when I feel like there's not really the necessity for that kind of sound, which again, some people relate it to more like the Jaco sound, what I do is I just hammer on, which helps me create sometimes lines that are more intense that I may not do regularly just by plucking every single note. So for example, if I'll take that A that I'm using in the track, you can see that all those kind of cool articulations that I'm doing, it's all because of that hammer on. So it's kind of a different lick. I also like, you can do a lot of creative stuff using that. I personally also really like involving my open strings when appropriate. Kind of creates this cool sound to it, which also can help, especially when you're playing in this fast-paced environment. So let's see how that comes to use. And we're down for hack number 4. Hack number 4. I mean, not so much as a hack, but kind of like the reality punch over here. As you may have noticed before, I'm a big fan of practicing with the metronome, and sometimes there really are no shortcuts. So when practicing all the different things I just told you, and with practicing every groove in general, what I recommend really in order to get your fingers up to speed, to get your hands up to speed, and to be able to play the bass line for like the long run, what you really want to do is practice with the metronome. And not just that, if you want to be able to practice faster, what you can do is practice a certain bass line. Keep a certain tempo, that whatever tempo that you're comfortable with, that you can actually stay with the groove, and then very slowly bring it up 5 BPM at a time, but only after you really feel like you locked it down. Then you can bring it 5 BPM up, and then keep on practicing that, and then bring it 5 BPM even higher. So that track that we were working on, that's based kind of on like power chords, we go from A to G to F. What you can do is practice it slower, and then take it up to the play along that the BPM is 150. You don't have to just start there. If you want to play fast, the secret is to play slow first. I know, sounds crazy, but that's what it is. So that's it. We have 4 hacks to playing faster on bass. Just a little bit of a difference than the regular finger style that we play. Hopefully it will help you to create really cool bass lines while you're at home. Take time to practice your bass and be better. Don't go outside, keep yourself safe, and hopefully we can all go through this very fast and keep on playing outside and having fun. Meanwhile, I have some really cool group-based classes happening at Lessonface, and I still teach one-on-one from the comfort of my own home and your own home, so it's a risk-free bass lesson, so feel free to go to lessonface.com and book a lesson with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay healthy and stay safe, and I will see you very soon.